Welcome back to the Bull Ring. Day 2 done. This is where the match stands at present. We'll go back to the start yesterday. Virat Kohli wins the toss and decides that he's going to bat first. They get 187 in their first innings. South Africa 194 in response. At some point it looked pretty tough to get to 187. They managed to certainly get parity and a little bit more. India now 49 for 1, and that's a good start in their second innings as they try to set a total to South Africa in order for them to try and defend and win this final test match. So 42 runs as a lead, and in the context of the game, that's already quite a lot with just one wicket down. A couple of captains alongside me, Graham Smith and Kepler Wessels, and let's think forward rather than back about what's happened today in looking at where the match stands currently. Kepler, tell me what's going on in your head.
Well, I think South Africa will be a little bit disappointed with their bowling in the last session. I think the 42 runs that India have got is a handy lead, considering that they've got all those wickets in hand as well. I think if you want to be chasing around about that 220, between 220 to 250 batting last on that surface from what we've seen, that could be very tricky.
Graham?
Yeah, I think the game was set up beautifully for the afternoon, and India dominated that last, 15, 17 overs. Just what they would have wanted. They got a little partnership going. They've got themselves slightly ahead of the game. I think South Africa in particular will be disappointed. They didn't ask enough questions in the afternoon. The intensity looked a bit flat. Whether they 2-0 up and they just not quite got the edge that they had in the other two games, I don't know. But they've now put themselves under pressure. They need to have a massive morning tomorrow.
Can you turn on and turn off the edge, as you call it?
Sometimes it's just small things, but ultimately on an afternoon like this, your bowlers have to set the tone, and they were off the mark. They were wide, they were in between lengths, offered a few scoring opportunities, didn't ask enough questions on a surface that's, testing batsmen left, right and centre. So they'll be disappointed. I think also tactically they need to improve. I think Vernon, he's looking to swing the ball too much. I think on this surface he needs to just attack that off stump, let the ball do the talking for him. I'd like to see him and Morkel maybe coming from this side, attacking that crack, and let Rabada and Ngidi work from the golf course end.
Okay, the wicket that fell, is that the sort of area that they should be looking for now with Parthiv Patel?
Without a doubt. I think that we know that if you bowl close to off stump and you hit the pitch hard, that you're giving yourself every chance. The ball is moving around. It's going to move around all the time. It swung a lot today as well, and we can expect more of that tomorrow. Swing and also movement off the seam. So it's tricky, it's difficult from a batting point of view if you hit the right areas.
Let's work backwards then, guys, and work towards India's bowling. What was your thought as you watched them go about things today and execute with regard to plans, considering they had the benefit of hindsight, having watched South Africa have a go at them?
Well, I thought they were excellent in the first hour. There was so much movement available. I think they used it well. I think they put South Africa under pressure the whole time. They bowled well after lunch as well. Some really good wicket-taking deliveries. So I think on the whole, they'd be pretty happy with their effort, restricting South Africa, and I think they'll feel that they're on top.
Okay, with that feeling, let's go and find out if they really do feel that way, because Jasprit Bumrah is here talking to Sean Paul.
Jasprit Bumrah with me. Jasprit, congratulations, first 5-wicket haul. Must have enjoyed that.
Yeah, it was always my dream to play Test cricket and to get my first 5-wicket haul. It's very good, and to contribute to the team's success is always a good feeling.
Must have enjoyed bowling on that surface. You might have to wait a while and not get those kind of surfaces in India.
No, this is a total new experience for me, because such wickets are not there in India. But on this wicket, there's a chance that you get carried away and you try too much. So that was a temptation which you have to hold over here. So yeah, that worked for me.
Is that the advice coming from inside the camp, from the bowling coach and from the captain? Don't get too carried away, just hit your areas?
Yeah, because when so much is happening off the wicket, you tend to get excited and try to, do too much. So that was the basic message which was given to us in the bowlers meeting as well, not to get carried away. Stick to the basic bowl discipline lines and you'll get the wickets.
Just left to enjoy seeing that ball carry through nicely to the keeper.
It always feels nice, because that doesn't happen too much in India. So there's good bounce over here. So that as a bowler feels good that the ball is carrying like that to the wicketkeeper.
The batsmen have come out and played nasty. Whose decision was it to open with Patif?
It was a decision made by the team management. So yeah, we're really happy we've got a decent start right now. So hopefully we will capitalize on it tomorrow.
And 49 for 1, what's that, about 42 ahead? In the context of the game, that's a lot of runs.
Yeah, because over here, I think every run is very crucial. So both the sides know that. So hopefully we'll capitalize on the lead which we've gotten now, and we'll play aggressively tomorrow.
An opportunity to try and pick up 10 in the second innings?
Not thinking about it, as when the bowling comes, we'll think about it at that time.
Okay, well, very well bowled today. Well done.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, not thinking about it. Just got to watch it all unfold. In talking about India and the way that that they bowled, South Africa come out a second time, and they've got to come and bowl. And as you say, a bit disappointing with the way they went. What would the batting side be saying right now in the change room, having had particular difficulty in trying to get parity to 187?
Well, they've batted on, and I saw the bowlers, in particular that first hour today, was flying around everywhere. They would have thought it was a tricky afternoon for us, so they would be buzzing now, India. They'd be thinking, we've had a wonderful afternoon. We've got through undamaged. We've got a lead of 42. We've got something to come. They're going to arrive at the ground tomorrow positive. South Africa thinking they got 100 runs to play with probably here. I think they were thinking, I've got to restrict India to something around 160, 170 and below. So they've got a big morning ahead, and India knows the first hour is going to be tough. But if they get through that, 80 runs in the first session tomorrow, they're sitting pretty.
Discussion within South Africa's change room from the guys who come off the field and have had a go batting and a difficult day pretty much, and then gone out and stood in slips and so forth, asking for the guys to pitch it up, and it hasn't happened. I
think it's one of those occasions where I don't think you need to talk to the whole team. I think you need to pull the seam attack aside and have a very direct chat with him about tomorrow morning. They need to go away tonight, think about it, arrive tomorrow morning clearly focused on how they want to go about it. I think tonight it just looked a little bit all over the place. They were just running up and not actually quite getting things right. So I'd pull those bowlers aside, have a constructive chat, and try and get them focused on what they want to achieve tomorrow morning. They're the ones that need to set the tone for the team.
As a group, one-to-one, what was your style? Would you go and speak to each one? Would you speak to them as a group?
No, very much so. I'd also pull them aside and talk to each one of them, try and get them really focused and have clarity of the strategy, clarity of the plans, and then hopefully they can execute first thing tomorrow.
Yeah, I want you to talk about dealing with the pressure of it, because it's the third innings, and sometimes the pressure's on the batting side, but many a time it can also shift on a pitch that's like this. It's on the bowling side. That's after we hear about South Africa's superstar. He is a superstar, Hashim Amla, appreciated within that side, we know, and even more so today for those runs that he got. Here he is talking to Sean Pollard.
Got Hashim Amla with you. First of all, Hashim, how's the body? Struck on the hand, the ribs, is everything okay?
Yeah, everything's in place. So, yeah, happy. I don't think there's any broken rib or anything like that, so all good.
You say in practice you got hit in the stomach as well, so you got a couple of bruises to show for your efforts in this test.
Yeah, I do have a few bruises. The nests were pretty spicy as well, so you just got to take it on the body. You know, it's part of batting, so yeah, enjoyed it.
It is part of batting, but more the case on this surface, isn't it? You feel like they can get one that will just misbehave. It's a bit of a landmine. You never know when to expect it.
Yeah, it's quite difficult. Obviously, there's a few cracks in a good area that once the ball lands there, it's been shooting up quite alarmingly. You know, I was getting into the line, so I'm going to take it on. If you're not in line with it, then you might glove it, or you might just miss the glove, but certainly it's shooting. Yeah, it's been tough. You know, tough batting. It's a wicket. There's a lot in it for seamers. You almost feel you can get out any ball, especially if the guys are bowling in the right area.
Yeah. Talked about getting into the line. It was a change of strategy from what we've seen from you in the years gone by. What was it done? First of all, try and eliminate the slip cordon. And when did you make that decision? Before you walked out there?
Yeah, before I went to bat, I had an idea that I'm going to try and get into the channel to play as straight as possible. You know, you got 3 or 4 guys behind waiting for Nick. But, you know, even saying that, there's still balls that beat the bat. So on a wicket like this, probably the element of fortune always is highlighted a lot more, because a lot of players are misses, and yeah, today was the day that kind of just worked in my favor, and I managed to scratch around for a few runs. And I mean, it was at one stage we were obviously quite far behind in the deficit, so to get to 190 I think was a decent effort.
Okay, you talk about there's an element of risk, isn't there, when you come outside that off stump, and they try to target it, try to bowl at your stumps at times. Are you just saying to yourself, I'm backing myself, if it comes straight there I'm not going to miss it?
Yeah, that's basically it, trying to hit it. If you miss it, then so be it. But on a wicket like this, you've got to have a plan. And as I said, some days those plans work out, some days it doesn't work out. But today I'm grateful that it did.
Okay, you got 60-something. How would you rate that in your test career in context to some of the hundreds that you've had to score? I mean, because you couldn't have played on too many more spicy ones than that.
No, not too many more like this. AB joked with me when I walked. He said, "Yeah, that's like 150." I said, "Nah, I wish it was." Yeah, so you got to grind it out and get whatever runs you can. I'm glad that we have managed to get some runs, but there's no guarantees. As I said, an element of fortune is quite big in situations like this.
Okay, I'm in AB's camp. I've given you 150, so well played about that. How much do you reckon you can chase? What's the safe score to chase down?
Well, I think about 250. Even if it gets to 270, you don't know how the wicket's going to play. It hasn't got considerably worse over the last 2 days, so hopefully it doesn't get worse and worse and worse. But if we bowl well and we manage to pick up some wickets, then even if it gets to 250 to 300, as a batting unit, you always feel you're in with a chance. So hopefully that's what happens.
Okay. Thanks very much for your thoughts, Ash.
All good, thanks.
I don't know. Do you have to say that because your team's there and you're kind of giving yourself some room to play with?
Well, it'd be a remarkable chase if they chase 250 plus on that surface. So I suppose you've got to play a few mind games and make the rest of the team maybe think it's not that bad. Coming from a senior, experienced player, maybe it's not a bad strategy.
Yeah, I mean, it's just speaking from your own camp. I think South Africa know anything over 200 is going to be really, really tough. And someone's going to have to play an incredible innings. I think for them, it's got to be around that 170, 180 mark if they feel they've got a chance.
Okay, give me a couple of things, gents, that you feel are going to be key tomorrow as both these sides come back and try and set themselves up for the win.
Well, I mean, for India, it's about just getting through that morning session. If they can, get through that session unscathed, South Africa might become a little bit more desperate for wickets, push a little bit too hard, offer more opportunities to score, and then they can get away with it. But I think for South Africa, it's again, like we've said, going one side tonight, the captain pulling them aside and saying, guys, we've got to be better. This is what we want to do tomorrow. We've got to rock up here focused, set the tone, good intensity, and it's about wickets for them in the morning session. They need to get a couple in a row, like one big clump of 3 or 4, then they'll feel they're in the game.
Kepler, speak about that as well. And question I asked before we went to listen to Hashim about the pressure that's on the fielding team in trying to ensure that even a little total, one that you'd normally consider as little, so 150 tomorrow with 9 wickets is, you don't sit there and think, oh, that's unthinkable. But if they do get that, it puts you under pressure. So what to do to calm the nerves to ensure that everybody kind of stays in the process rather than looking at outcomes?
Well, you hit the nail on the head. You've got to stay in the moment. You can't look too far ahead. Whether you're batting or bowling, you've got to try and play each delivery or bowl each delivery and not think too far ahead and try and focus and concentrate on smaller periods in the game. Try and win the key moments, try and win those smaller battles, and then try and set up your victory that way. So both sides have to show intent. South Africa have to come in and bowl really well tomorrow morning first thing, as Graham said as well. And India too, they can't just come and survive. They've got to look to score. So I think we're in for a fascinating first session tomorrow.
Okay, first session tomorrow. Look into your crystal balls, both of you. Let's first have a look at the Ram delivery of the day. Then you can tell everybody what you think will happen tomorrow. Here it is, the Ram delivery of the day.
Outstanding stuff. What a delivery that is. Bowled him. That's a big wicket.
Big in-swinger, good delivery. AB de Villiers going for the expansive drive and just leaving a gap between bat and pad.
De Villiers never looking settled. The in-swinger has been going away, and wonderful skill from Kumar. He's beaten De Villiers.
That came in a long way. Look at that seam. Beautifully bowled. Outstanding stuff. Beauty. What a delivery that is.
Yeah, no greater feeling for a fast bowler has set up a world-class player and done him all ends up there. Come back tomorrow. Oh, you heard Kepler Wessels. He said we're looking forward to it. That first session's going to be fascinating. 9:30 we're on air on SuperSport 2, and if you're in the area, you want to sneak out the office. Come on over to the bull ring and see what happens. Let's have a look then into that crystal ball. Kepler Wessels, what do you think?
A few wickets in that first session for South Africa, then a bit of a partnership, and then we're set for a cliffhanger all the way through.
Oh, he's not calling it. He's just kind of certainly, ooh, tightrope. You're right on it. Never mind. Victor's going to have you for that. What about you, Graham? What do you think? What do you see?
I don't know if it's my head or my heart, but I'm thinking South Africa might take a few early wickets tomorrow and control the pace of the game. I think the key is for them was not to leak runs. I think one thing India did really well today is they created pressure. There weren't a lot of loose deliveries. Then they got the wicket, they got the wicket, they got the wicket. They were always in the game. So I'm expecting South African bowlers to rock up tomorrow morning.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Early to bed because you're going to have your energy in the morning. Tell you what, it's been a series that's gone that way. So much action pretty much all the time. That's it for day 2 here at the Bull Ring. Catch you tomorrow. Looks lovely. Day number 2, South Africa locking horns with India. Live to you from the Bull Ring.
Right, what a challenge. What a challenge this is. Here we go. Here's the start of day 2. And there it is. Really good bowling, and eventually he nicked one. Oh, he's whipped that. He's taken a bit of a shuffle across outside off stump, and he's whipped her for 4. That shot belongs in the Caribbean. A shot. Punch. He loves that one.
The old ball here is doing a lot more. Not much in Cape Town, but here certainly has done quite a bit. Bowled him. That's a big wicket. We all knew it was going to be difficult batting on this pitch. Hope you said your prayers this morning.
Bowled him. That has hit that off stump very hard indeed, and that is brilliant bowling. This time from Bumrah. The skipper goes.
Bang, 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 pretty quickly.
Hashim Amla standing out like a beacon.
Wow, what a shot. What a shot that is.
Beautiful shot from Hashim Amla.
Scrambling on the other side. I think that's been taken. Yes, there it is. So Bumrah's got 5. That is the end of the South African innings, and there is nothing, absolutely nothing in this test match at the moment. But congratulations to Bumrah. 5 for 64. Brilliant stuff.